Today we're going to do a prenatal class that's great for first or second trimester. These are a lot of the exercises I did during the second trimester of my pregnancy, and I hope you enjoy it. So I'm going to start on your back. If this doesn't feel good, you can also get some kind of wedge and wedge yourself up a little higher if you aren't comfortable lying on your back. Arms down by your sides, feet hip distance apart. Just going to take a deep inhale. As you exhale, you're just going to feel your pelvis tilt into a little 12 o'clock. Inhale, come back to neutral. Exhale, tilt your pelvis up to 12 o'clock. Think of imprinting your mat or your spine into the mat. Inhale, back to neutral. Exhale, release all the air. 2 more. Try to keep your upper body and your legs relaxed. Last one. We're going to come back to our neutral position and stay there. Inhale. As you exhale, you're just going to let one knee open out to the side. Try to keep your hips as stable as you can. So go as far as you can without letting your hips change. Inhale, back to center. Same side. Open. Keep your pelvis where it is. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, open that knee. Inhale, back up. Gentle contraction of your abdominals. You're not trying to go as hard as you can. Back to center. Other side. Inhale at the top. Exhale as you open. On one side, you may notice it opens way more than the other, and that's completely normal. You have one side that's usually a little more stable, one side that's a little more flexible. And open. And then back up. Last one. Try to keep that stability in your pelvis. And then back up. Now we're going to change the legs a little bit. So you're going to inhale here. As you exhale, you're going to slide one leg out on your mat, all the way straight. Inhale, back in. Same leg. Slide out. And we're trying not to let the pelvis change. Keeping that stability. And if you are struggling to slide, you can always use socks, or if you have like a paper plate or something like that, you can put that under your foot and it kind of helps you slide a little better. Sometimes I like the traction though. Makes me work a little bit more carefully. Last one. And then back up. Other leg. So you'll stretch out. And then back in. The pelvis and sacrum are heavy in the mat. And then back in. 2 more. Everything in the upper body should be nice and quiet. Last one. And then back in. So bring your feet a little closer to your sit bones. And then arms are still down by your side. We're going to go into a bridge. So I know when I was pregnant, my back got a little stiff, so I didn't really focus too much on articulating through the spine. So if you want to, you can. For me, I'm just going to go into a neutral bridge. And then lower back down, just to make sure I'm just engaging my glutes. So neutral spine, bridge up. And then back down. And up. Try to keep that connection from your abdominals to your pelvis. Up. And down. 3 more. And then lower. Try to keep the chest open. And your chin is off your chest. Last one. And lower. And then just rock your knees side to side. Kind of open them a little wider and just windshield wiper them. We're going to go into some side lying work. I really focused on my pregnancy on keeping my glutes and hips strong, because you kind of need that as you're walking to, it's hard to avoid the waddle, but you want to keep everything strong for your pelvis since it is changing. So we're going to start with clams. So you're going to have your feet together, open the top knee, and then close. As you open, try not to let your hip roll back. You want to keep the top hip on top of the bottom hip. And open and close. 4 more. And 3. And if it doesn't feel good to have your hand behind your head, you can always lay all the way down. Whatever feels good to you. Last one. Now we're going to go into hydrant. So you're going to lift your whole leg up and then lower it back down. So your knee is facing forward. Again, I'm focusing on keeping the waist long. And lift and lower. 4 more from the side of the hip. 3 and 2. Last one. Now you're going to turn your leg in. So your knees are together. Lift your top foot up. I like to flex my foot. So it's like I'm stepping on the ceiling. And then you lift the leg up and then turned in position. And lift. So we had external rotation, parallel. Now we're in internal rotation. 4 more. And 3, 2. And we're going to alternate. You're going to turn your leg out. Heels come together. And then turn in, knees come together. Heels, and then knees. Heels, and knees. We have 4 more sets. Rotating from the hip each time, so it's that ball in the socket's rotating. 2 more. Last one. And then lower that foot down. We're going to go into a single arm push-up. So if you're not already lying all the way down, you're going to lie all the way down and then have your bottom hand just wrap around your chest. I like to grab on to around my ribs if I can. Your other hand, top hand, is going to be right in front of your elbow. And from here, you're going to do a little push-up. So you're going to push up as high as you can and then lower back down. Push and lower. Now you won't go very high up. That's okay. It's more just to work this arm and isolate that arm. Last 2, and last 1. Nice. Let's switch to the other side. You can roll over if that feels good to you, or you can sit up and turn like I am. So you're lying on your other side, hips and shoulders are stacked, and then feet are in line with your tailbone. We'll start with clams, so you open the top knee and close. Open and close. Keeping everything in your pelvis still. Again, the stability in your pelvis is what we're looking for most of these exercises. And 2. Last one. Into hydrant. You're going to lift the whole leg up and down. Lift and lower. 4 more. And 3, keeping the waist long again. 2. Now we're going to turn the leg in. So knees together, lift your top foot up, and then lift up. Again, I like to flex the foot, but you don't have to if that doesn't feel good to you. And lift, and lower. Up. 3 more. 2. Now we're going to alternate. Turn out, bring the heels together. Turn in, bring the knees together. And heels together, and knees. And the pelvis is stable. Just rotating in the hip socket. 4 more. Rotate and in. 3 and 2. Last one. And carefully lower that foot. Lie all the way down. Bring your bottom hand around you, so around your ribs. Top hand is going to come right in front of that elbow. And then you're going to lift up and down. Just go where you're keeping it, up and down. We're not trying to get all the way to a seated position. 4 more. Just trying to work the upper body a little bit. 2 more. Last one. Now you're going to push yourself up into a seated position. We're going to stretch out your hips. So you're going to cross one foot over the opposite leg. Push yourself up into a seated figure 4 stretch. And then switch sides. And then we're going to go into some seated work. So you're gonna sit. I like to have I enjoyed sitting with the soles of my feet together while I was pregnant. If you want to sit crisscross applesauce, you can. That just didn't feel good to my hips while I was pregnant. So hands are gonna come behind your head, one hand on top of the other, elbows are wide. Make sure you're not thrusting your ribs forward. Try to keep your shoulders, ribs, and hips stacked. You're gonna lift up and bend over to one side, and then come up and bend over to the other side. So as I'm doing this, I'm trying not to let the opposite hip come up, keeping my hips anchored into the mat. So it might not be a very big movement, and that's okay. Up and over, up and over. One more each side. And then you're gonna bring your arms out to a T, and then just reach over and stretch. And then come back up, and the other side, and stretch. Reach this top arm long, and then come back up. Arms are going around to a T. So you're gonna bring your palms up to the ceiling and push your arms back. And then you're gonna turn your palms back and push your arms back. So a little pulse, so you push up, or turn up and back, and then push back as you turn your palms down, up and down, up and down. Each time you push the arms back, again, you're trying not to thrust your ribs forward. And 3 more sets, and 2, last one. Now little circles. You can go into a fist with your arms and just circle it around. 4, 5, 6, and then reverse, back and around. And then slowly release your arms, roll out your shoulders. We're gonna come to a cat and cow. So make sure on your hands and knees. You want your hands right under your shoulders, your knees right under your hips. You can go a little wider with your knees if you need to, if you have if you're already popped. And you're just gonna go into a cat, and then into a cow. Exhale into your cat. Inhale to arch into your cow. Just go where you can. Your back might be a little bit stiffer than you're used to, and that's totally normal. And just try to keep the mobility that you have. One more each direction. And then come back to a neutral spine. We're going to lift one leg up. So you're going to stretch that leg out behind you. You can point the toes if you'd like. Try to keep your hips square. And you're just going to lift the leg up and lower. So I lift it to about hip height and lower. Lift and lower. 4 more. And 3. Try not to arch your back. 2. Hold it up. Now you're going to bend and straighten your leg. So you bend and stretch. Bend, stretch. And try to keep your leg even in both arms. And your hips square. Last one, hold it bent. Flex your foot, little pulses up, up. 5, 6, 7, 8. Lower that leg down. Shake out your wrist. And we do all that to the other side. So, other leg is going to come back. You want to reach that leg long, point the toes, and then lift the leg up and down. Again, you're trying not to arch your back. You want to keep that spine long and neutral. 4 more. And 3, 2. Hold it up. And then we bend and stretch. Bend, stretch. Just breathe. Try to remember your breathing, especially as you get tired. And then hold it bent. Flex your foot. Little pulses up for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. Feet together, knees wide. Just go into a child's pose. Breathe into that stretch. When you're ready, come on up. And we'll come to a seated position. So, again, we can have the feet, soles of the feet together. We're just gonna bring arms out to a T and then back into a side bend. One more time. And then Try to keep your hips still. Just rotate your upper body a little bit toward your leg. And then come back to your side bend. And all the way up, other side. Reach over. That opposite sit bone is staying down on the mat. And then rotate your upper body just slightly. And then back to your side bend. And then all the way up. Just sit with your hands on your legs. Just take a deep inhale. And exhale. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. I hope you enjoyed this class. I'll see you next time.